Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with returning guest, Samantha Clemons. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
This is very cool. We're hanging out here at your home. We got a nice fire on. It's a nice fall night. Just trying to paint the picture, what it looks like here. But we're having a great time hanging out. It's been way too long since we got to do one of these.
I know.
And so
Mostly my fault.
we all get busy, life, and I think we threw a global pandemic in there for a couple of years. So
For good measure.
yeah, so but this is what I love doing this show, getting and a good excuse to sit down and catch up with friends. And
Yeah.
it's not like we haven't seen each other since then. We did a big party in summer of 22 to celebrate 1,000 episodes and 8 years of this podcast, which was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, I had you and the guys of the Manis Brothers, Old Capitol Square Dance Club, Egan's Rats, and Ben Diesel.
Yeah.
And it was a wild night over at Off Broadway, and it was a lot of fun to celebrate with my friends and people that have been a big part of this show for years. And so it was cool. It was a great way to celebrate 1,000 episodes for sure. It was a good eclectic mix of people and variety of sounds coming through. And
We had so much fun. And I loved Egan's Rest.
yeah.
They were so much fun.
Yeah, those guys are great.
They're awesome.
And that was the first time I got to watch you play with the band, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'd only been together, I think, at that point, like 8 months maybe.
Right.
Yeah, we were pretty new together.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Which was exciting that you linked up with some buddies of mine to kind of fill out the sound, for the live band version of what you're doing and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, so we got a lot to catch up on, including we have some new music on the way and everything else. But I guess the big one, it being that we are, it's been 5 years almost since our, something like that. I think it's since our last podcast, the actual sit down. So lots changed for you since then. I think when we spoke then, your baby was still a baby. And, so now you're 6 years old?
Yeah, five. Almost 6.
Almost 6, yeah. So
he's and talking back.
yeah.
It used to just be a one-way street. It's opened up since then.
Yeah. But that's also kind of the fun thing about these, that, these are all time stamped, for a moment in time, what it's like for you and your life and things. And it's just kind of cool to see the growth, personal and professional and everything else, what happens, all the life that happens between these. But I don't know, it's really cool seeing you get to be a parent and mother and raising these 2 little ones.
Yeah, craziness.
You said something off mic earlier about they're kind of starting to find a little thing in music themselves?
Yeah. So my oldest, the 8-year-old, he has started tinkering around in GarageBand. And he's just like plopping loops in there and then like adding some keys and coming up with melodies. And it's so much fun to watch him like get into it and lose, 30 or 45 minutes, like being creative, for the sake of being creative, not really, trying to pursue it or make it into a thing, but just because it's fun. It's a good reminder, I think, for myself. Yeah.
Well, and I think that for me, I'm not a parent, but I think, it's been said before too, but like you're getting to look at it again through their eyes. Like, so you're getting like
yes,
inspired again to music again and stuff,
And, I mean, he's 8. So he doesn't have any of the hang-ups around, I don't understand music from a theory perspective, or I lack a significant amount of skill around this thing. Like, he's just letting it take him wherever it takes him and enjoying the process and not being critical of himself or overthinking it. Just like putting this thing down and being like, hey, Mom, listen to this. And I'm listening and it's just a kid having fun, So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. I kind of wish I would have found music when I was younger. Like, I've always been a giant fan, but I never picked up an instrument to play. Or I think the closest I ever we had like very early versions of like Fruity Loops on our computers, and we played around making up beats or whatever we thought were beats, and like, and that was, and we thought we were really cool then, and it's like, but I don't know. I just kind of wish I would have pursued it more. Not that it's ever too late, but I don't know. It would have been cool to be able to especially young when like having a little bit more time. It's a little more difficult when you're pushing 40 to like, hey, I want to start a new hobby, and so
yeah. I mean, I even feel that way. Sometimes life will get the better of me and I will, put down my guitar for 2 weeks and then I pick it back up and it's like, if you had only just given it 15 minutes a day for the last 2 weeks, it would feel so like cumbersome or disjointed. So yeah, I think I came to music pretty early. I started singing in the church at a very young age. We moved around a lot because both of my parents were soldiers. And so I didn't get into the instrument side, like instrumentation, learning that until a little later. But I even feel like it would have been a lot easier had I had like a really solid foundation when I was younger. I think, luckily for me, I can hear things. I have a bit of an ear for it, not like, these virtuosos out here, but I can fiddle my way around on things. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I totally agree. So it's nice that, I was talking to Eli a couple weeks ago about, Colored, the new single, and he was asking me questions about it. And then, just like, how does this go from what I hear you play on your guitar to this thing that we're listening to now? And I was explaining that to him. And then randomly he just picked up my iPad and found GarageBand and started tinkering around on it. And then I could be like, so this is the thing that, I mean, it's obviously a rudimentary version of it, but like, this is how you translate, maybe an idea, a musical idea into something that you can listen back to. And he was super fascinated by it. So yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah. You think piano or guitar lessons or anything might be coming up? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say actively looking. I want to like find the right person. But I think he would like to take piano lessons, and it's helpful that we have one here that he'd be able to practice on. But yes. However, I don't want to force it on them.
Sure.
I kind of want them to lead
Right.
that a little bit, because I know what it's like to have hobbies as a kid that you don't necessarily like,
Yeah.
but that you have to show up for
Right.
all the time. So yeah,
I
trying to find a balance there.
Sure. Yeah. I just saw so Philip Russo
Yeah.
from our Songwriter showcase we did together.
I love Philip.
He's got a brother, Anthony, that and both of them like grew up in the dance studio. Their mother
Oh, okay.
owned a dance studio, so they were performing arts since they pretty much could walk. So I saw Anthony over the weekend, which is why this story was fresh on my mind. But he was telling a story about he first did his first tap dance show at 3 years old, and he's like, his mom told him that it was his idea that he wanted to take. And he's like, I don't remember that, but I'm glad it paid off. Like he tap dancing. He talked about how he did a really cool thing where he was like told his life story while tap dancing,
That's cool.
and like a spoken word type of thing. And the band left the stage. Like he's been mixing tap and dance, or tap and songwriting and stuff like together. Like, and the band left the stage, and he did this thing where he kind of told a story and about how tap dancing, like when in high school, wasn't always the cool thing. Like he was the only guy really doing it, and but he dropped out, or didn't drop out, but he was excused from high school to go be a professional dancer
Wow.
at 15, and
Wow.
started, and then still graduated on time.
That's amazing.
He started touring the world and all that. I mean, just like, so it's just cool to hear what it can do. Like,
Yeah.
like if it's something you're passionate about, and you're even at a young age, you can find it and build it. And then, it could be something you do for a living and stuff or whatever. So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah. So, but yeah, and we have big shout out to Anthony and Philip, great friends of the show. But I mentioned that Songwriter show, and I was listening to it on the drive over and just cracking up, listening back to that, because that was such a fun night. And
It was a lot of fun.
you, Philip Russo, and Matt Hitchcock, both of Sidecar, and
Yeah.
such a great night. So
And those are just solid dudes, man.
yeah.
Matt has a baby now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a proud daddy, and Phil just got married a bit ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're growing up. So
I can't believe
Yeah.
it. We were babies.
yeah. So we mentioned Colored. You said this is you showed him the new song you're working on, and we just wrapped up studio session for this, and we got the coming out brand new single, first single in a little while.
Yeah.
From you. So it's super exciting to get some brand new music out there, and
I'm excited. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, you gave me a little sneak peek, a couple weeks ago or something like that, before we sat down to do this. And I listened to it on repeat for a good while, and I absolutely love this song. Like, it's so good, and
Thank you.
it really, it's a powerful song, and just you crush it, and so I'm excited for everybody else to hear it. And
Thank you so much.
November 17th, they'll be able to add it to their favorite playlist, right?
Yes. And if you join my mailing list, you can have access to an exclusive private streaming link on November 10th. So
SamanthacLemons.com.
Yes.
And then get plugged in there.
Yep. And just join the mailing list. And then Friday, November 10th, we'll send out that private link and you'll get to listen to it a week early.
Nice.
Yeah.
But we did do a little live stripped down acoustic version here.
I'm on the outside, I'm just an outline, you've colored me in. But why did you choose such somber blues? See, I'm sad, but these laughs keep breaking her through. Would I be bothered if I asked you to use a little highlight? A bit of light amidst the black, but I'm on the outside. I'm just an outline. You've colored me in as you did fit, and I'm the ones my mama picked for me. Yeah, you've colored me in my life. You're smothering it. Who did the red so deep? Yeah, I'm so much more hit than feet. See, I like to let my mind wander, and I ponder before I speak. Where is all the grief? Like the shade of a coconut tree, with its water for my thirst, the flesh to bless this curse, and see if you can make it up in those leaves. Yeah, well, mama said you'd find your way above anything, but I'm on the outside. Yeah, I'm just an outline. You've colored me in as you did fit. Yeah, damn the ones my mama picked for me. Yeah, you've colored me in my love. Oh, you're smothering it. Yeah, you're smothering it. You've colored me in.
This is always some of my favorite stuff. I mean, I talk about it a lot, but especially like this, just relaxed setting like this, you know, just like, I don't know, it's something special about it. Like, it's always cool to do live acoustic stuff at shows or, you know, different random places but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the idea of being just like cozied up on the couch, like, you know, with a guitar and just like hanging around fire and telling stories and playing songs. And And so this was like a really cool night for me, really special to see this performance. And I don't know, I felt like that that scene in Step Brothers, when he's like,
It's one of my favorite movies.
When he's saying, he's like, I can't even look at you right now. You're like, so I was like,
that is the biggest compliment.
That's how I felt.
My face cannot hold my smile right now.
Took on the
I can't even look at you right now.
Like a combination of Fergie and Jesus. But
I'm watching that movie after this, just so you know.
The movie's incredible, such a good one. But seriously though, like I love the song a lot, and
thanks, Shane.
I start, I don't know, the way my brain works. I start like thinking about music videos or something, like.
Okay, so tell me.
So I mean, like the wheels start turning, and I'm like, I don't know if any of it makes sense or whatever, but I start like picturing, like when I'm hearing it, I imagine you like kind of singing it as your youngest one's like drawing pictures, kind of a stick figure family. Mm-hmm. Starting off as black and white, and then kind of coming to color, kind of thing. So, kind of like
Brian McClellan is waiting for me to get back with him on the video idea.
So, but there was like an old like music video like in the 80s or something on MTV. I can remember like guy like kind of came out of the TV and he's like black and white or whatever kind of thing. And I don't know. So I was kind of thinking like that. It's like, it's just kind of a cool thing is like, but the symbolism of like the color bringing you to life kind of thing. Like, I don't know. So
I love having the kids involved with the like.
Well, I know you've done
art
stuff with the little ones before too.
I do love, so Burn, my oldest, was in like the main character in the video. Sorry, that was my fireplace. So for Burn, the oldest one was the main character, and then in No Room, the youngest was in utero. Yeah. So technically, they were both featured. But I love that idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, just make sure you
credit you.
Yeah, give me an assistant producer credit or something.
Of course.
So get involved, SamanthaClemons.com, Facebook, Instagram. You can find all those platforms and be notified when more new music is coming soon.
Yes.
But maybe a music video coming soon. Who knows? Maybe Brian will hook you up. So I hope so. He's a bad dude. He's a very talented man.
Fantastic. We met. This would have been like later in the summer to start work on the music video for Colored. And then I like tore all the ligaments in my ankle and had to put a pause on that. But yes, we are planning for some visuals for this one, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and we have a date on the calendar, a little bit off, but you can put it on your calendar, January 19th, Blue Strawberry in St. Louis, Missouri, over in the Central West End, and you might be able to hear that song live.
Absolutely.
Which super cool space over there. You said that'll be your first time in there, but so grab those tickets, bluestrawberrystl.com, I believe is the website, and you can see Samantha and the band live, and maybe you might even hear some more new songs. But I'm excited. I was kind of saying earlier, like I wish I could get to watch you play a lot more often than I do. Unfortunately, it doesn't always line up. I know you've played a couple recently, like some different shows. I just between work and everything else, it's hard to make them all, but it's nice to see being a little bit more active these days. You and the band getting to play out a couple more times this year.
Yeah. We were hoping to, and then, scheduling stuff is just always super hard. But I think the goal is to be a little more present, and make sure that I'm out. I know the guys do a really great job of, making it out. And I think that's, for me, kind of my focus is, it's great to play shows, but I really want to be a part of the environment and what's happening in St. Louis. And I think the only way to do that is to, make sure that I'm showing up for everyone else too,
Yeah.
And we have so much great music that's coming out of St. Louis right now. It would be a shame to pass up the opportunity to see some of these people at this time, like Gannon, Karen, Beth, Curious and Free on repeat on Spotify right now. Love that new record. I know Yannen's coming out with a new song here in a week or two that I'm super pumped for. Her Joyride. I was listening day one and I loved it. So, I think that's kind of where my focus is. It would be great to get out and get to play more. I know us as a group now, we've kind of really found our footing with one another. And the creativity has definitely evolved. And so, it would be great to do that. But I just know that St. Louis is this is a special time, and I want to be there for it, and I want to experience it, so.
For sure. Yeah. There's, I 100% agree with all that. There's something really, and I feel like I've been saying it year after year.
Yeah.
And it's still rings true, but there's something super special going on in our community. And, I think it is important. I think one time I remember our buddy said something about he was upset that people weren't coming to his shows, and then somebody was like, "What, do you go to their shows?" He's like, "Well, no." And he's
exactly.
You got to support each other and
Yep.
And so I wish there was more of that. I think that people, it does seem like sometimes it's more of a solo sport, kind of thing. People do get in their lane doing their thing, but I do wish it was more of a community where people do, make a point to go see their friends play and support other shows. And, I know it's kind of nice now, even though it's a little different, but whenever we had Broadway Oyster Bar, BB's and Beale both going strong, we called it a Blues Triangle down there. And people would hop back and forth between all three clubs. Yeah. Seeing all kinds of different, groups playing live music from, usually 10 to 2 a.m., so it's now we got Billy's on Broadway doing music down there.
I haven't been there yet.
In the new, in place of Beale. And BB's is going strong and Oyster Bar too. So we're kind of getting a little bit of that, but it's kind of nice having those particular venues in a within a block walking distance, so it's I wish we had kind of more. That's the only kind of thing that kind of stinks about St. Louis is it's so spread out between downtown, the county, and beyond. So it's we, and you got a little bit of that in Tower Grove. There's a couple of different venues within, but it's just kind of, I wish there was more a music, kind of like in Broadway in Nashville or something like that, where it's you can just go from bar to bar and see all kinds of stuff and then be able to support people, on your, when your gig's over, you can go across the street and watch another gig, that kind of thing. So, but we've got little glimpses of that, but not to that extreme. But I wish there was a little bit more of that, where it was kind of a little Grand Center is kind of turning into that, along
Yeah.
like with Central Stage and
Dark Room is over there.
Yeah. There's a lot of activity over there in that area. The Kranzbergs are doing a great job of supporting the arts and keeping things alive over there.
Is that new Arts Hotel? Is that over there in the? Oh gosh, not Angad, not that one, but there was another one. I cannot think of
I'm not sure.
the name of it now. That just recently opened up, and I hadn't checked to see like what area it was in, but
Yeah.
no, that's a cool area.
Yeah. Were you we're talking about Colored, and you did was it Chris Turnbull part of that one as well?
Yeah.
So all this was at Sawhorse, or is it?
So we recorded at Midtown Soundhouse with Daniel, but kind of brought Chris in as like a collaborator, kind of in a producer role, and he has really helped kind of flesh out the sound and help us really turn these songs, which are all really just me writing on my acoustic guitar, turn them from like these acoustic traditional like style singer-songwriter songs into something that feels a little more cohesive. So kind of some background on the band. I actually met Zach, the bass player, Zach Clark, at a Yannin show. I had opened for her when she released her record in, this would have been 21 maybe? 2021. And it was just me and a guitar, and he came up and was like, if you're ever interested in playing with anyone, I'd love to play with you. And then he found Jared McFarland, the drummer. And then they both brought Matt Galick in, who plays keys, to kind of flesh things out. And it was either Zach or Jared. I feel like maybe it was Jared that introduced me to Chris, and then Zach was the one that introduced me to Dan at Midtown Soundhouse. And I just thought it would be a really good opportunity to get an extra set of ears and an extra brain in the room to help, flesh things out. So, and it's proven to be a really great idea.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went this route, because one thing that Chris is really great at is like getting me out of my head. I am an overthinker. If just look up overthinker in the dictionary and it's a picture of me multiple times, like one of me at 10, one of me at 15, another one of me at 25. It's just me, all pictures of me. And he's great at that. And then, putting a little distance between me and this thing that I created in my bedroom in like a super sad place or a super happy place where all of these emotions are tied into it. Having a person there to kind of be a buffer between that. So you're not so precious about this thing, and you're willing to look at it as something that could be something like that can grow into its fully formed self. It's been super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Another incredibly talented guy and good friend for sure. I've got to watch him play with many different groups over the years, and he's just an incredible talented player and behind the board and everything. And so he definitely has an ear for it. And so it's cool to hear that you two are partnered up and making some music happen. So
yeah. And the Dan too has been fantastic. Like he's choosing sounds. They were on this synth. What was that for? I think it was for Wild West, maybe. Trying to find sounds. We have recorded a few songs that we're excited to release throughout the year next year. And they were just finding sounds and messing around, and then he'd find one and everybody was just like, yes, that's it.
yeah.
No, it's been a great experience.
What are you thinking it's shaping up to be an album or EP? Is it, what are you looking for?
Yeah, so right now we have like 4 songs kind of in the back pocket. And so we're hoping to just make a bunch of really good singles and release them steadily, and hopefully they resonate. And if they're catching on and they're resonating and people are enjoying the music, then hopefully we can, turn that into a full length release. I think personally, I love an album. I love the building out the creative concept and kind of mapping out the emotional journey of something. But I know the music industry is a little different now than it was when I was growing up, when you would like buy a CD and put it in your car and listen through to it and fall in love and then listen to it over and over and over again. I know it's not that anymore. And so I want to be honest and like live with that reality. But yeah, I would love to make an album. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Do you recall maybe the first or significant album that really like
I do
changed everything for you? Like,
so the first album that I bought was Kanye West's College Dropout.
Oh, that's classic.
And
so good.
Yeah, I listened to that thing until it didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
The car that I got to drive, when I was in high school didn't have a CD player. So I saved up my money from my job at Dairy Queen and went and bought one of those CD players that you have to like push the tape in, the CD converters, just so I could buy that album and listen to it. And yeah, still one of the greatest albums I've ever listened to. Albums that like significantly affected or influenced me. This is gonna sound super strange, and I'm trying to remember. It was in college, and I was super sheltered, so I grew up on old jazz, super old gospel music. I'm talking like Mahalia Jackson. If my dad was in a really good mood, he might let us listen to his Luther Vandross stuff. But beyond that, it was like, gospel, Christian. Like he wouldn't even let us listen to Kirk Franklin, which was like hip hop-esque gospel music. So in college, I found like alternative emo, music, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And there was this album that I bought in Hot Topic, and I'm gonna have to pull it up on my phone because I know I'm not gonna remember it, but I'm pretty sure the band was Emery.
Yeah.
And What was the album? It was like there was like a little boat and they were sailing. Oh, what was the name? In Shallow Seas We Sail, I think was the name of that
Okay.
album. Or maybe that was like one of the main singles on that album. But yeah, I listened to that. Yeah, it changed my life. I couldn't believe that music sounded like that. I didn't sound like anything I'd ever listened to. And I listened to it over and over and over and over again. And it influenced a lot of my early songwriting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great record.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you find Emery? Is it just a friend or just because you saw it at Hot Topic?
Yeah. Just because I saw it at Hot
Yeah.
Topic. I'm definitely a judge a book by its cover kind of
that was the era, like where
Yeah.
you can go to a store and hey, this looks cool, and like
Yeah.
it's like whatever it was. You actually had the physical form to see it, and like, all right, I like these guys or whatever, and
Yeah, it was the artwork.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was sitting at the register as I was checking out for something, and I had a couple extra bucks, and I was like, I'm going to buy this CD.
Yeah.
And then I popped it in, and off we went.
Yeah, that's always fun too. Like, even obviously a lot of them you probably buy because you heard on the radio or you saw them live, maybe, but finding an album and just putting it in and going for a ride and like, not really fully aware of like what it's going to be on there. It's like
Yeah.
kind of thing, or the excitement of a brand new record that, something like that. What your favorite artist or discovering a new artist that you find all their back catalog and then you like, fall in love with all this stuff. And it's like, so I've kind of been going through a lot of that. Like I've been listening to this podcast, The 500 with Josh Hettemeyers. I talk about it quite a bit, but I think it's a great podcast, and it's not necessarily the best music podcast, because and Josh will say it himself, he's a comedian that's likes music.
Yeah.
So he'll get people that get mad at him for not talking more about the music kind of stuff. But he started the podcast as a kind of a dedication to his friend who passed, who was super into music. And Josh wanted to learn more about these great albums that the bands that he always heard about but never really knew anything about. So he started going through Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time. And so he gets like a lot of comedians but sometimes the people that actually recorded on them or different things and
That's cool.
talk about some of these albums. So I remember a couple of them that stood out. Like I remember one they were talking about White Stripes, Elephant record.
It's a great record.
And I, at that time, like I was into a lot of rock but that Fell in Love with a Girl song was on the radio like a lot, and I didn't care for that. And I kind of blew off White Stripes a lot. And plus it was like that era of like the bands. So it was like,
Yeah.
they all kind of started running together. The Black Keys, the Hives, the Strokes, it was like whatever. It's like, and so I probably didn't give them their full, due diligence. But after listening to the pod, like, and I enjoyed what I heard on there, like as they were talking about some of these songs, and I revisited. I'm like, man, I love this record. Like, and once you dive in past like the radio singles and stuff, like there's some, like that's some of my favorite stuff. So there's something really special about albums like that. I agree. Like as looking at it as a piece of art from start to finish. It's like,
Yeah.
So it's been fun to catch up with some of my old favorites, or learning something new along the way too. So that's what's kind of cool about that show.
Yeah.
But
I like
yeah.
to shake my head a lot, but
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
sure.
not a visual
Yeah.
medium, so I have to remind myself.
Yeah. You mentioned Dropout though, and like, did you watch the Yeezus documentary?
I didn't.
You should definitely watch that.
Okay.
Especially if that is one of your first records, because
I knew all the words.
Yeah.
I probably still know most of the words.
I could put in Usher's My Way right now, and I could probably sing every word on that record.
Okay, but that was a great record
Yeah, right.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't come to that one until a little later, but yeah.
But yeah, but in the Yeezus, the documentary was all filmed like while he's doing that. Like,
Really?
I mean, it's up to present day. Like his friend had been filming all these years, but a lot of it's during that time.
Man.
And it's powerful, like super inspiring. Like,
I might be down to watch that. You know, me and my memory of Kanye have some issues now, but I will never take that away from him. That record was front to back. Every minute of that record was, it was amazing.
Well, that's what's like that in the documentary and that record. He's hungry.
Yeah.
He's been told no.
Yeah.
A bunch of times.
You can hear it.
He's done he's been making beats. You know, he's been kind of making a name for himself doing that. Mm-hmm. But he tells people he's a rapper and they're like, get out of here. Like, you know, we don't, you know, like you're, and, you know, and so you can tell he's getting frustrated that he's been people keep telling him no. And he finally like, I'm going to prove it to you. And like, so this record, like he had a lot to prove and he was right. It became one of the biggest records of all time. And like, so it's just something super inspiring about somebody that believes in what they're doing and believes in them. I mean, it went to a extreme, you know, of today, some of the stuff like, but you know, some of the things that we know Kanye for, but at the time, like, it's just like really inspiring to watch that play out.
I would like to see him in a candid environment while like during that time in his life. It would be really interesting and I think compelling to watch that. So I'm going to have to put that on my watch list.
Yeah. It's really good. But yeah, I got to, let's see, I meant Usher's a big one for sure, which is funny to look back at. It's a great record, but also kind of weird that Usher was like 14. He was so singing these songs.
Okay.
Like,
I'm going to tell you a little story about Usher here. So I was in Las Vegas for work earlier this year with my husband, and it was like at night, conference is over, we're just kind of hanging out, and this very small man walks by, but he has like all of these people around him, and I'm like, who is that? And then I look again and I turn to my husband and I'm like, oh my God, that was Usher. And he walked right past us in the casino. And I'm sorry, Usher, I love you, but I'm about to blow your spot up right now. This is a short man.
Yeah.
He's very small. I was very surprised by how short he is. But he is also as good looking in person as he looks on, you know, in pictures. So he has that going for him.
Right.
But sorry, Usher, you know you're short. I don't.
I do think it's funny how like we, especially through the lens of TV and whatever, you know, like you start having an idea like physically what, you know, like the measurements and stuff, like these people like, yeah, I thought you were gonna be taller. Like it's just funny that we do that. And like, and then you find out like, no, actually they're pretty short. And
yeah. I was shocked, so much so that like, you could see it on my face, but, and that's not to say that there's anything wrong with a short, a short guy. Yeah. I've dated short guys. I love short guys, short kings, you know? But it was just shocking. Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with like, obviously casting based on their own height to, maintain a like perspective for the
Right.
viewer, right? But yeah, I just thought it was super funny.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that was Usher, like right next to
Yeah.
me. It's the closest I'll ever get.
I wish I could go to that. He was doing a residency there for a while, and Silk Sonic was doing a residency in Vegas, and I was like, I would love to see those shows. And
Those tickets were. I was like, oh, I want to see Silk Sonic, and then I went and looked at the tickets, and I was
Yeah.
like, I will never see Silk Sonic.
yeah, I saw Bruno once at Chaffetz.
Really?
I think it was Chaffetz, maybe Enterprise. I think.
Man,
I think
what-
actually no, it was. I think pretty sure it was Enterprise. But
What an amazing performer.
yeah, I would like to see Silk Sonic though. That would be pretty special to see them together.
Anderson .Paak is chef's kiss. His Tiny Desk concert, I have watched an ungodly amount of times. Just, I can't understand how someone can play the drums that well and sing at the same time. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. 777 by Silk Sonic. It's on my running playlist. That's how much
Yeah.
I love that song. I will run to that song on repeat. It's amazing.
Yep. You you got a playlist on Spotify, don't you? Like, was that
Yeah.
did you curate that? No, you're just like
Yeah.
other favorite songs you like right now. Like,
Yeah.
I noticed that the other day. I was like, so I didn't know if if there was any significance to some of those, or just like it was just a lot of stuff you've been jamming lately.
I've got a couple of them. Some of them are private. So I have like a St. Louis playlist that I put together of just like artists in the region. That's just called Home. And then I've got one that's Kinfolk, which is like artists that are kind of in the vein of me, which is like soul, Black artists. I have a couple of 10K playlists. So anytime I run a race, I'll build a playlist that I train to. So I have 2 of those, which are just, kind of trying to match the energy of how I like to run my races, which is like going easy, build up the pace a little bit, and then kind of coast through the finish is like how I like to run. So the tempos will kind of start off a little more chill, and then we'll build a little bit, and then we'll kind of pull down at the end.
Yeah.
And then just like some random ones for the kids,
Yeah.
for like TV theme shows that they like and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, even when I'm not like writing or playing a lot, so much of my life, I think, revolves around sound. And some of that probably has to do with my own little like personality or mental quirks. But yeah.
I'm 100%. I feel like I don't know if it's the medical or the scientific parts of it all, but if I put headphones on and the right
Yep.
playlist or albums or whatever, like I stay focused. I'm
Yes.
like, I can get so much done. I'm productive and things like, I'm easily distracted otherwise sometimes, like, and
Same.
so,
Same.
headphones at work, make a game changer for me. So,
Yeah.
but, and even like, it doesn't necessarily have to be even like super, upbeat or, like I understand like for running and stuff like, but like I can listen to some super sad,
Yeah.
depressing folk music that I love and still have the same effect. And like, it just I kind of get lost in these songs and stories and stuff. And
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, at least for me, speaking from personal experience, like whatever, we're so like fluid and changing, even like throughout the day as human beings, never mind from one day to the next. But I think what music helps with is like allowing us to mirror back to ourselves what we're experiencing and find some sense of belonging or community in that feeling. Because some feelings can be super isolating. Either whether you're at one end of the spectrum or another, whether you're super, super sad or super anxious or happy, sometimes you can feel like you're the only person that's experiencing this thing. And when you can put on a playlist or listen to a song that resembles that for you, and that can reflect that back to you so that you don't feel so alone, I think that's where the magic is. And I think music can do that in a way that other art forms can't, because we can take it with us in a way that we can't take a book sometimes. Yes, we can listen to audiobooks, but
also does it in 3 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Or, not an hour and a half movie. Or
we can't take the saddest painting that we've ever seen with us while we're doing these other things that demand our attention. So music is like very novel in that way, and like super specific, that it can fill this need much easier than all of these other creative medium can. So no, I totally agree.
You ever mess with any of the other physical media? Like art, or do you ever find other ways to express yourself like that? Or has it always just been through song?
I have tried with art, and I am so clumsy. And again, with the getting into my head, that I don't think I've ever given myself enough grace to actually learn it. And also I struggle a lot with perfectionism. So if something doesn't come easy to me in the beginning, I'm just like, it's not for me. It's not, I would love to though. Like I'll be on Instagram scrolling and I'll see these, 10-minute long time lapses of people coloring with charcoal, or for the cover art for Colored, Michaela Field, she did the artwork for that, and she would send me progress pics. And it's amazing what someone can do with a pencil. I cannot believe it. And I would love to be able to learn that, but you gotta have decades behind you before you can do that kind of thing, unless you're a savant, So
I met a guy the other day. I went to the flea market in Wentzville, where I live, and he's a local guy, lives in the town, but he was selling canvases of some of his paintings, and he does all through aerosol, like cans, spray painting.
Isn't that incredible?
And yeah, it's unreal, like some of the work he's done. And he does, it's a lot of, I think you can pretty much do whatever you wanted to commission him for something if you wanted, but a lot of his stuff he had on display were a lot of pop culture stuff, obviously cool. Video games and movies. And there was like, it was around Halloween. So there were a lot of like different horror things, like, so the different faces and different things like that. But I mean, all of it was like super impressive. And I was just like, and I've watched some of his, like you talking about time lapse. I've seen some of his videos.
It's amazing.
And he does like, and he'll spin the canvas, and it was like, I'm like, how does he do it? It's like,
who knows?
Yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, at this point, it could be witchcraft. Who knows?
Right, yeah. But you mentioning, some working through stuff and song, and being able to connect that way. And you did play another one live here today, and this is you were kind of talking about it when we played it, and another one that has a lot of personal ties to it all. And this is an unreleased live here, and maybe we'll get a studio version of it someday. But
I would love that.
This might be the only way.
not like a hurricane, or like a steady drip going away, not quite a flood, but the river still on its way up. While I'm on my way down, don't let it get too far, I'll never be found. But hey, guess I'm happy that I got a bed today. It's looking like it's gonna rain, but I could use some heavenly water on my face. It might be the only way. Now that the dust is kicking up, it's not the sort of clouds I've been thinking of. But hey, guess I'm happy that I got a bed today. It's looking like it's gonna rain, but I could use some heavenly water on my face. It might be the only way. It might be the only way. I could use some shelter from these winds blowing in, but I'm there facing the elements, and all I need is a little light. But every minute feels like midnight. Can't seem to catch the dawn before it's gone. But hey, guess I'm happy that I got a bed today. It's looking like it's gonna rain, but I could use some heavenly water on my face. It might be the only way. It might be the only way. It might be the only way. It might be the only way.
Yeah, you were telling me this one's about your
Yeah.
mother, or
Yeah.
it kind of came from that.
This is a song that I wrote earlier this year. My mom, who is a retired vet, she is a renal patient, and she had been struggling for a few years, and it took a while for her to get a proper diagnosis. But she ended up having to have open heart surgery earlier this year. They had found a large mass in her chest that was sitting on her heart. And it was a really difficult moment to move through with her. It was supposed to be kind of a routine procedure, something that they had seen before, but as that procedure was progressing, they made it apparent to me that this was not going to be kind of a run-of-the-mill situation. And that first 24 hours was just, heartbreaking because I had been watching my mom really struggle under the weight of this terminal diagnosis for decades at this point. My mom's been a renal patient for a really long time. I was in high school when she was diagnosed. I was like 16 in my senior year in high school, and I'm 35 now. So, yeah, it was a really difficult time, and I came home the day after having spent, most of the day there and the night, and them having to transfer her to Barnes Jewish due to complications. And this song just fell out. It was one of those, there are songs that I've had in my voice memo for 10 years that I've never finished. And this was just one of the ones where I came home and I picked up my guitar and that was the song, Luckily, she's recovering and, we're taking it a day at a time, and she's still here with me. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was, as you tell that story, and I think about my own journey and stuff, like I wish I kind of had an outlet to process some of that. Like it was, luckily I had this show.
Yeah.
I think it helped me to have my friends around a lot and talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of, it's tough, you see somebody you love that took care of you for so long, and you see them, in a position where now you have to take care of them or help and do those things, and you feel helpless at times because you wish you could do more and stuff. It's like so many things go through your head, and like you're just like, so hearing you talk about it, and I've had other situations where I listened to a show called the Honeydew with Ryan Sickler, also another great podcast, and he gets a lot of the people on to talk about like some of their like worst stuff, like traumas, and it's highlighting the lowlights is their tagline on that show. So it's like people talk about losing parents and different things, and like for me it's it's obviously I'm sad for them and myself, but also it's somewhat comforting in a sense, like to hear other people talking about it and knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
In these feelings. Like there's a lot of things like we all go struggle with, like you do feel like you're alone in these types of things. And so hearing you share your personal story, I think other people are will connect to. So thank you for sharing with us.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough stuff. I mean, I'm glad she's doing better, but those are really long nights when you're sitting there in those hospitals and or whatever.
And it is really hard because I'm super type A, so I'm like always, how do I fix it? So if I see a problem, what can I do? How can I fix this? And knowing that there's nothing that you can do is the worst feeling.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of my personal motivation for making music is just creating a space where I can dump those feelings in a safe way, yeah, it's maybe not the most effective form of therapy, but it's a pretty cheap one.
yeah.
It's gotten me through so far. So not to say that I don't need other therapy. Listen, I do. I absolutely do. But who has the time? No, I'm just kidding.
Obviously, a lot of podcasts, a lot of them are sponsored by like BetterHelp and all the, a lot of the guys talk about it, and a lot of guys, swear by it that on these podcasts and different things. And I'm just like, man, it gets in my mind. I'm like, maybe I need to, maybe it'd be good for me to like.
Same. I've actually had a couple of close family and friends that have been like, it does work. It has helped me a lot. I think for me, just finding someone that seems like a safe place to go, that isn't going to bring with them all of the baggage that I have to deal with when navigating the world to begin with, is probably my main hang up. Is like, I just want someone who understands the world through my eyes and can bring that perspective with them as I'm sharing these like very tender spots in me that I know need tending, but that I don't want to make available to just anyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
That can be a little scary, but I'm not opposed to it. I definitely know that I need somebody to talk to sometimes, but
well, at least you got a guitar. Like you can talk to your guitar, and we keep getting some great music out of it. So
yes, he's very patient, and he's always there. He doesn't talk back. It's great, you know.
Right. Yeah, it'll work for the time being. So
yeah.
I was thinking, we maybe we're shifting gears a little bit, but we're creeping up on Thanksgiving.
Yes. My favorite time of the year.
One of my favorite times of the year as well. The food, and it's just a great day. Food, football, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes.
That's pretty much all you do is just hang out and laugh and have a good time. And
that is the plan.
So, what as far as Thanksgiving, what's like? Do you have a tradition, or is there anything different you do at your house you think that or has been passed down, or anything like that comes to mind?
So Thanksgiving is my mom's holiday until the end of time, she told me. So wherever my mom says we're going, that's where we're going. And whatever she says the menu is what the menu is. But I know that we're always going to have cornbread dressing, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and candied yams. So I will be there. Yeah. Because those are my 4 favorite dishes.
Right.
She makes other things as well, but I'm there for the cornbread dressing, the cornbread sage dressing, the mac and cheese, the candied yams, and the collard greens. Yeah. And I'll go back a couple of times.
Is the guy like the panko crust on top of the mac and cheese like that, or how she do it?
No, hers is just like super cheesy, and she likes to make it really like the cheese sauce super thin, and so she bakes it for a really long time, and it's just the moistest thing you've ever had. And then I don't know where she got her cornbread sage dressing recipe from, because my mom's from St. Lucia in the Caribbean, so this isn't a Lucian dish. So I don't know where she got it from, but it's amazing. And she makes it with cornbread and dried sage, and then she boils like chicken livers and a bunch of vegetables, and then just like blends it together and puts it in this big dish and bakes it forever. And it's kind of like stuffing, but it's way better. Yeah. Like, I can't tell you how much better this is than stuffing.
Oh, wow.
Magnitudes.
I'll be there. I'm coming.
Okay.
All right. Over after this.
All right. I'll let you know. I'll give you the time. I'll send you and the wife an invite.
What's your least favorite? What's the What's the one you skip?
Oh, you guys. I'm sorry, but the green bean casserole has to go. I actually like green bean casserole, but I feel like for Thanksgiving specifically, we can leave it for like a barbecue or like a potluck, you know. There's so many other great dishes, you know, to have at the center of the.
That is probably the one that people are very divisive on, you know, they're split on.
Yes.
Like it's
yeah.
You know, it's like Stacy on the other end, that's her favorite. Like she'll go get like 3 servings of casserole. So it's like
I do really like green bean casserole. I think it's just because there's so many other really good Thanksgiving dishes. I'm like, I can't fit all of this on my plate.
Right. Yeah.
I've got like 5 spots and one of those is turkey and I just gave you the other 4. Right. So we're out of room at that point, you know?
Yeah.
But yes, if you have a barbecue, there should definitely be green bean casserole there, I feel like. Yeah.
Is cooking have you gotten into that? Like, is that a passion of yours, learning from mom over the years or anything?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not as good as my mother by any means, but it's super calming. And I think it has, you know, not only are you looking forward to eating the food, but like the process of preparing it. My mom grew up in a really tiny fishing village in the 60s and 70s on St. Lucia. And so all of their cooking is from the land. They're, you know, if it's not fish, it's provisions or provisions from the ground or from the trees. And so it's a really involved art form, and doing it is engaging in that is very calming. And also it's kind of how we love on each other too, is like taking the time out to take these ingredients and make something that we can all kind of come together around. Right. And share. So I would love to say that I have a lot of time to engage in it, but I do make a point to at least, you know, twice a week get in the kitchen and like cook some real food. I do. Because if I don't, I feel like an imposter. Like I'm not like honoring my mother's.
Yeah. I do. There is something, you know, again, going to back to the headphones, but I find a lot of, it is relaxing for me in a sense. Like, but you mentioned the comforting part of it. Like I do have a lot of fun in the kitchen. Like I do a lot of our meal prep for me and Stacy, making our lunches for the week, and like I just enjoy. Sometimes I'll get kind of anxious and stuff, and I'll just I can go into the kitchen and I can cook, and I'll put my headphones on, listen to a podcast or an album or whatever, and just kind of get in the zone, and like it just kind of mellows me out. Like I don't know why, but there's something, you know, comforting about it. So but when around the holidays, I talk about sharing with, you know, and stuff, which is always one of my favorites. Like I do really like to usually bake. I don't really do a lot of, like my cousins and aunts and some of them make like the most of the sides and the turkey stuff, but I'll usually volunteer to bring a dessert, and I bake cheesecakes a lot.
Oh, don't tell my husband that.
Yeah, and but I enjoy it, but every time they're always like, man, you should like sell these, and I'm like, I don't know, like I like doing it just for friends and family. Like I enjoy this. I think if I had to do it for a job or something like that, it would take the fun out of it. Yeah. And but like for the, you know, birthdays or holidays or different things, like special occasions, I like to, you know, show off a little bit in the kitchen and
Yeah.
and make something special and share it with the people I love. So, but yeah, it's I think there's a lot to that, just like
Oh yeah.
being able to, and I think Thanksgiving is like the prime example. Everybody, usually like the potluck kind of thing around the table, or maybe sometimes mom does it all or what, but depending on your situation.
We're trying to keep mom from doing it all this year. We're like, Mom, sit down and relax, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite dessert other than cheesecake? I heard, yes. I may have to stop by for one of these cheesecakes one of these days because this is a fave in my house. But other than the cheesecake, what is your favorite dessert to make?
Man, I do. So it's not my recipe, but I enjoy making it. I don't have any of my own yet. I'm not that good, but I'm good at following directions.
That's all you need.
Yeah, but the story behind it goes back to a friend of mine, Brandy. We were still are coworkers in the district, but her grandmother used to run this kitchen. It was like a country fixins. It was like a truck stop diner type of thing. Mm-hmm. But like became like, I don't know how famous, but pretty famous for desserts.
Yeah.
And she was baking all these pies and cakes and stuff
Nice.
from scratch, daily. And so Brandy brought in, like, recreated her carrot cake and brought it in one day, and I was like, I love this. And so I make it pretty often, like, a couple times a year or whatever. And it's
Carrot cake is my favorite cake.
one of the best things ever. Like,
I'm so glad I asked this question because you're not getting rid of me now,
Right.
sir.
I'm not really like there are certain carrot cakes that I'm not crazy about, but this one, like, it's the best thing I've ever had. Like, and you don't want to know what it goes. I mean, like, if you make it, you'll know, but like, just enjoy it as is. But when you make it, you realize like, it's a block of cream cheese, a stick of butter, a pound of powdered sugar.
That sounds exactly like,
It's like
a delicious carrot cake.
All right. It's like, these things are not good for you, but they taste awesome.
They're amazing. Okay. Is this something you're going to be able to share?
What, like
The recipe.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. I'm going to need that one.
Yeah. It's not top secret. I think I can, but pass it along. And but it's, I just think it's cool. Like, it's again, going back to having personalized, some kind of, even though it's not my family, but I love it that there's a story behind this recipe still and stuff. And
That's awesome.
so yeah, it's fun to find those old family recipes that have been passed around and stuff. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's definitely one of those, that and cheesecakes are like those. I mean, like I said, those are on, highly requested a lot at our family function. So
I tried my hand at a cheesecake once, and I probably won't try it again for a while.
All right. It's tricky.
They are a little tricky, and I am pretty sure I have undiagnosed ADHD, so this is not for me. There's some things you just gotta. If it can't simmer for a long time on the stove, I'm probably not good at it.
One time, I've only made them once. They were bomb, but I made like homemade cinnamon rolls from scratch, and that is a giant pain. Like, so if you got ADHD or anything like that, like, those are ones, like, because it's a lot of patience as you got to wait for the setup and everything.
Yeah.
It's like a whole 2-day process, It's like waiting for dough to rise but I mean, it pays off in the end. It's worth it, but it's a long day to making some cinnamon rolls for breakfast. So
No, I just go to the mall and go to Cinnabon.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's way easier. Well, you again, get plugged in, SamanthaClemons.com, Facebook, Instagram. Colored coming to you on November 17th. Hit up the mailing list for an advance sneak peek to. But I really enjoyed this chat a lot, Sam, and I thank you for doing this. And hopefully, it's not another 5 years or whatever.
Oh gosh, I hope not. That's crazy.
Let's make this happen a lot more often.
I agree. Yes.
But
thank you so much, Shane, for having me on. I appreciate your time, and I really appreciate what you are doing for the St. Louis music scene and all of your support, not just of me, but everyone that is really putting out some great stuff and doing great work here. So
thank you.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. Well, let's meet up again, if not before January 17th at Blue Strawberry.
19th.
Or 19th, sorry, yep. 19th. I was close. Almost got it.
I know. Those dates are, all over the place.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Bye, everyone.
See ya.